Hello, fight fans. Seattle Mike Fights with Friends here. Everybody, please hit that like button or I'll send Colby Covington over to your house to taunt you in front of your family. Make sure you're subscribed and don't forget to ring that bell so you're notified whenever I drop a new video or go live like this Saturday for Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier 3, UFC 264. Ever since Sullivan won the heavyweight championship in early days of boxing, the championship belt has been the most prestigious item in combat sports. In the UFC, Mark Coleman was the first fighter to win the heavyweight championship, and Conor McGregor himself parlayed becoming the first ever champ in the UFC, to bringing his value of proper 12 whiskey last year to over $600 million and cashing out for a huge payday. I mean, he was the highest paid athlete in the world last year when you count that sale. Doesn't do any of it without the championships, without the 13-second knockout of Jose Aldo, without the victory over Eddie Alvarez. None of that is possible. Dustin Poirier, he has been chasing a title for quite some time, won the lightweight interim championship on April of 2019 in what I think was one of the greatest lightweight bouts of all time against Max Holloway. Later that year in September, he cashed in that interim championship belt for a shot at Khabib Nurmagomedov, although he did come up short. Khabib Nurmagomedov retires, relinquishes the belt, and everybody thinks, hey, it's Dustin time. Even Khabib Nurmagomedov said, Dustin he's the next in line. So he fights Conor McGregor in January of this year. Afterwards, you're thinking, hey, he's either going to be crowned the championship or he's definitely going to be fighting for the championship. Knocks out Conor McGregor. I said second round. It's an impressive performance. And all of a sudden we start hearing rumblings of Charles Oliveira being in that title contention spot. So we're thinking it's Dustin Poirier versus Charles Oliveira, going for the big belt, right? Well, Charles Oliveira ends up fighting Michael Chandler. Charles Oliveira wins that fight, of course, finishes Michael Chandler, becomes the champion, has a big parade in Brazil, all of that. Pretty popular over in Brazil. Not a huge household name still worldwide, though. Dustin Poirier, it said, was offered a shot at the title. And as far as I know, declined a shot at the title for the first time in the UFC's history for another fight. And that was for more money, because even though Conor McGregor is not currently the lightweight champion, the highest 5 selling pay-per-views in UFC history all had Conor McGregor in the main event. So even though Charles Oliveira is the champion, Conor McGregor is the money fight. And now we have Dustin Poirier fighting Conor McGregor for money and turning down a title shot. Does this set a precedence? Is this going to be something that we see more in the future? Well, if Conor McGregor wins this fight, it's definitely very, very likely, I believe. I believe that this would set up a fight, either the trilogy fight with Nate Diaz, a fight with Jorge Masvidal, most likely at welterweight, or a fight with the older brother Nick Diaz if he defeats Robbie Lawler on September 25th. There are names that are much more recognizable in the UFC right now than Charles Oliveira. That is not often the case with the most competitive division in the UFC. Lightweight division has been the most competitive division in the UFC for quite some time. And welterweight has definitely been gaining on it, and it's close. But when you look over the last 5 or even close to maybe 10 years, no division has historically been as competitive as the lightweight division. So not only is that the world championship, that's kind of like, it's like whoever's, champion over there, number one over there, they're right up there on that pound for pound list, and that mythical greatest in the world pound for pound title. Now, how does this affect the sport going forward? Well, earlier this year, Jon Jones relinquished his light heavyweight championship. And there was a few reasons for that. One, he said he wanted to go up to heavyweight and he wanted to fight Francis Ngannou. He wanted the big payday that he felt that he had always deserved. And the rumors of him asking for $50 million. All the rumors go from anywhere from $20 to $50 million. Now, the UFC said to be coming in, it sounds like they were coming in the ballpark of about $8 million, but most of the information on that is pretty foggy. But it's to fight the champion of the world. So even though Jon Jones relinquished a belt, I don't think it had a huge damage, on the UFC. If anything, he was daring to be great. As they said when Israel Adesanya went up to fight Jan Blachowicz. Jon Jones just decided, though, he's like, I'm going to get rid of this belt at light heavyweight, let those guys fight it out, not lock up the division, because once I gain all that weight, I'm not going back down. He's not going back. Like Conor, that has shifted, from featherweight to lightweight, and then temporarily to welterweight, coming back down, to lightweight now. Jon Jones was going up. This was kind of a permanent move. So I don't think it was a big damage on the sport or on the championship brand, or anything like that. Another attack we've seen recently on the prestige of the UFC Championship, I believe, was in UFC 244 when Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal squared off for, that mythical baddest mother effer belt. That was kind of a weird thing. People put it up on a pedestal. A lot of people, UFC 244 ended up being one of the biggest UFCs of all time. It had so much prestige by it. Even the president was there. So that belt had a lot of prestige by it. The Rock was there to hand it out. It got pretty gimmicky there. And a lot of the hardcore fans did criticize it a lot. So it didn't really take that shine away from the real belt. But it was another belt. It was something, it was something else that these guys were fighting for. The UFC belt in MMA is still the most prestigious title on earth. And nobody's going to argue that. The Bellator champion, it's like, well, when you get to the Bellator champion, like Michael Chandler, I believe 5-time Bellator champion, like, hey, this guy's ready for a run at the UFC. That's all a Bellator belt really means, is that, hey, this person has earned a shot at the UFC, and if they've been champion for a while, have a following like Michael Chandler did, they're going to come in and probably get a pretty good contract and a shortcut to a shot at the title, which, of course, Michael Chandler did after just one fight. What does this mean for these guys going forward? Should Conor win this fight? I don't think he most likely fights Charles Oliveira for the title. If he goes out there and he blasts Dustin Poirier in the very first round, I think Conor McGregor goes and chases other fights. I don't really think that's something he's even interested in right now. And even he said recently, and his coach said on the Joe Rogan Experience, I believe, that Conor's not chasing belts anymore. He's chasing highlights, Well, basically I said he's chasing money fights. He's chasing moments. And moments that make that money. A moment in time was that 13-second knockout over Jose Aldo. Yes, it put the belt. It made, the growing legend of Conor McGregor what it is, because he kind of called his shot. It was Ali-esque, and we got to give Conor, I think, a lot of credit for that. And I don't think he gets the credit he deserves for whatever reason for that knockout. I think just a lot of people, it came off as cocky and brash when he called it. And then I think as many people, half the people were probably upset, half the people were probably really happy. And that's what you get when you got a polarizing figure like Conor McGregor. But to bring the prestige of the lightweight championship back, right now, Conor McGregor would have to fight Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira would have to fight Conor McGregor. Either way, that's what's going to bring the prestige back to the championship. And I think we're really in danger of losing it right now. Of losing that prestige. Because if Dustin defeats Conor McGregor, he's not necessarily fighting for the lightweight championship next either. Even though it's definitely deserving and definitely been offered to him. He mentioned he was going to look at his options. As Conor McGregor would probably fight a Nate Diaz trilogy, a Nick Diaz or a Jorge Masvidal, win or lose. It's probably not going to change a whole lot of Conor's earning potential. I mean, it's not a good thing, but I don't know that he's going to drop a whole lot. A big victory over Dustin Poirier, it's going to be, he's back. Conor McGregor's back, and it might throw talks of bringing George St. Pierre out of retirement. That's basically what a win over Dustin Poirier, I believe, does for Conor McGregor. And maybe talks of Khabib Nurmagomedov coming back, but Khabib has not shown any interest in that in quite some time. Now, Dustin, he's done the branding too. He's kind of copied Conor a little bit. And, I mean, in the sincerest form of flattery with his Dustin Poirier hot sauce. I have not tried it yet. I've heard it is great, though. I haven't heard anybody say anything bad about it. It sounds like he's killing it over there in the hot sauce game. Maybe not as much as Conor is in the whiskey game. But he's bringing in some cash. He's definitely making a profit. So if Dustin wins this and does not fight for the title next, if he beats Conor and doesn't want to fight for the title and goes and fights anybody else, that belt for Charles Oliveira is just about, as good as the metal it's made with. I think the lightweight championship is going to lose shine that it probably won't get back for maybe 5 to 10 years. We've never had a Conor McGregor. This guy can transcend. Now, Conor McGregor can transcend. He can go off and do something else. He can go off and go back and have a boxing match. That rematch he's been looking for with Floyd Mayweather. Or go and fight Logan Paul. One of these things if he wins. And people are going to pay to see it. And they're not really going to care a lot. And it's probably, not going to affect the lightweight championship a whole lot from where it is right now. Especially if he loses. If he loses and Dustin fights for the championship, wins it. Conor's kind of out of the equation on that one. And like I said, if he wins and goes and does something else, everybody knows he's kind of on this pedestal. It's Dustin Poirier. It's what he's done. I'm not saying it's his fault, but it's what Dustin Poirier has done that's really bringing the shine off of the championship. When he turned down a title shot in favor of a money fight, he said to everybody, hey, this championship is no longer very important. A fight with Conor McGregor is above a championship. He put Conor McGregor on a pedestal above the championship. Now, of course, we know Conor McGregor, he's 32 years old. He's not going to fight forever. He's going to take his money. He's already retired twice, supposedly. And he said, thanks for the cheese, I'm out, a couple of times. It's not like he's going to stick around and help prop the UFC up. So if Dustin Poirier wins this, I really think in the best interest of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, they need to pay him a substantial amount of money, what they paid him to fight Conor or more, to fight Charles Oliveira for that championship belt. And I think that is really going to be an investment in the value of a UFC championship. Because like I said, if Dustin beats Conor and he goes off and he fights anyone else in a non-championship bout, you can kiss the value of that championship belt goodbye for a very long time. But let me know what you guys think. Is this fight good for the sport? Is Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier good for the sport? And do you care about championships? Do you care about championships? Do you care about money fights or how much a fighter makes? Or do you just want to see the fights? Okay, this is a good matchup. We want to see this guy fight that guy because it's going to be a great matchup, and here's my money. Let me know down there in the comments below. I cannot wait to see you guys tomorrow for that huge UFC 264 card. As always, I love you. I respect you. And I'll see your fine asses next time.